It is Monday, August 18th, but yesterday it was Sunday, August 17th, and on that day I talked to a young Liberal at the Ontario Young Liberal Summer Fling in Ottawa, Ontario, which ran from August 15th to August 17th this weekend. So I figured for a special episode of the podcast, it's going to be a bit shorter today, but we will also get to have a special perspective on the scene with a live in-person interview. So audio quality will be a little different than what you're used to and won't be as smooth as what you're hearing right now. But I promise it will be a unique perspective that I hope you will enjoy. And you can hear it right after a quick ad break from me. Today's episode of It's Getting Pretty Late with Jake Landau is brought to you by me. Folks, all of my work is available for free with no paywall at jakelandau.ca. But in order to keep writing and recording, I need money, because money is what makes this show go round. So, if you enjoy my content or find it informative, please consider a paid subscription at jakelandau.ca/subscribe. And please leave a 5-star rating on the show in your favorite podcast app, be it Apple, Spotify, or a secret third thing. Thank you, and enjoy the show. It is Sunday, and we are here on a very special episode of the podcast, a live edition. We are at the Ontario Young Liberal Summer Fling here in Ottawa, Ontario, in the capital of our nation, at the University of Ottawa. And here today we have a special guest who I'm happy to have on the show. He's a young Liberal from Kingston who's come here to enjoy the event, and his name is Ayden Layng. Ayden, thank you for joining the show.
Thanks, Jake. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
No, I mean, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. I always like talking to various people with different perspectives, and I was excited at this Liberal event to get the perspective of, a rank-and-file Liberal member, especially a young Liberal with a unique perspective. So, I mean, I guess my first question is, how are you liking the event so far?
It's been pretty good. Yeah, I must say the weather in Ottawa has been a little, I don't want to say swampy, but I'm going to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I go outside and I start, my eyes start tearing up from the sun, so.
I get what you mean. It's toasty.
Yeah, it's quite hot.
I like this morning, though, that we somehow got below 20 degrees. I guess.
Oh, yes. I went on a walk in the rain.
I know. It's like, I know rain usually isn't what we consider good weather, but today I was enjoying the little we got. I'm sure the farmers are enjoying it, too.
Oh, definitely.
So what's your favorite part of the event so far?
Certainly so far, it's really been the getting to meet people from across the province coming together at an event like this, because this really is the formation of what comes from the OYL and
the next generation of the party.
Yeah. It's like the up-and-comers.
Yeah.
So,
they're young Liberals now, but in 5 years they'll just be Liberals.
Yeah.
They'll be the people staffing jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
So are you the only one here from Kingston on this trip, or have other people come with you from your riding?
I believe about 5 of us came.
Oh, nice. That's a pretty good group. You guys, I guess, are all rooming together at the hotel.
Yeah.
So that sounds fun. I did a similar thing when I was your age. It's a nice, it's team building, but also it's like a nice, formative experience, for young people in politics.
Yeah. And it get away, see people from other parts of the province where you never really go. So
yeah, it's just really it's a nice environment. What's the of all the panels and speakers that have been here, which one have you been fond of?
I was really fond of. It was quite interesting to hear an old fella, Sean Conaway, provided a really interesting analysis of just education and his overall experience in politics throughout a long period.
Right, and I'm familiar with Mr. Conway. I know he was a former minister under David Peterson. I believe he worked in education, I think, on the Catholic school issue, which is a debate for another time.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Don't worry, you aren't being quizzed on that one. But yeah, it is nice how like a lot of these like very experienced people like come and give their time like to come talk to young people trying to get involved.
And it was very nice, especially because he took a more relaxed demeanor.
Yeah, it's nice, especially when like those older like party elders, like in a sense where like they're the people, they walk in the room and everyone looks and like is like, "Hello, sir, nice to see you."
Yeah, it's
like
the ring.
it's not. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when they're casual, when they like try to take the edge off and make sure that
take it
like,
down a notch.
Yeah, they don't want young liberals to feel intimidated by them. They're here to talk and give advice.
Yeah, and they want to be approachable too, and they don't want people to be scared of giving them an opinion or like kind of hearing what their thoughts are, because that can really help form new things and new thinking, and so on.
And I know that Mr. Conway was talking with people after his thing, and there were very involved like discussions, and I liked that he was doing that. I think like mind you, they didn't all agree, especially on some things, but it was nice that he made time, especially to like hear out people with different views, especially young people, because like that unfortunately doesn't happen as much as it should.
No, it really doesn't. No.
Yeah. So
and that's not even particularly within the Liberal Party. Like that's just a broader fundamental thing of society, because
it would be nice if young people's experiences could be recognized as legitimate experiences.
Yes, that are a part of a fabric and mold of society.
I know I felt the same when I was your age, and I still feel the same now. So it's like it's you I think every teenager and like young adult can relate to the feeling of wanting to feel respected as an equal, to be listened to and heard.
Yeah, and I would say like, because fundamentally not necessarily an equal, because they're coming in with like years and 40 years of experience sometimes,
but
and so
a different perspective.
Yeah. But when they still will hear out what you have to say, and will tell you the intricacies of why not, or why you're thinking a good thing or a bad thing.
They take you seriously.
Yeah, they'll guide you through your mess.
That's nice, and it's exactly what I mean. Like, for all the policy differences that I may have with people in the Ontario Liberal Party right now, like it is a nice environment for a lot of young liberals, and I do appreciate that. But speaking of differences within the Ontario Liberal Party, there is a leadership review coming up in a few weeks, on September 12th in Toronto, Ontario, in the provincial capital. Will you be attending as a delegate?
I will. I'll be very proudly heading down there, representing Kingston and the Islands as a delegate.
Nice. And are you comfortable sharing how you feel you might be going?
So, like, I love intra-party politics. It can be a bloody battle, but we still are from the same stripe. We're still grits.
Yeah, it's like you fight hard, but at the end of the day, you team up.
Oh yeah. But because we have a bigger issue than Bonnie. So I will be voting yes in the leadership review, because
new leader.
Yes. That we go into a leadership election, and that would be really because of the two results in which we've seen. So we had the 2018 result, in which, however, we did make a concession. So I don't even really want to think about that one.
Yeah, when Kathleen Wynne went on TV and said, "Vote for us to present a Conservative or NDP majority."
Yeah, and that one to the general populace made no sense at all.
Yeah. For one, because they didn't view Conservatives and the NDP the same at all.
No. And so from there, we had Stephen Del Duca, and it was unfortunate because on June 2nd of 2022, I believe some of CBC's worst polling still had us getting official party status, and we still didn't. And so
I predicted about 12 seats in that electoral cycle, and we got a bit below that, but I think I was the closest of a lot of guesses.
I saw 16, I thought, in that morning when I was grabbing...
Yeah, it's like we all knew it wasn't going to be good, but it still was worse than expected.
Yeah. And much worse. And so our leader at the time just immediately resigned on election night, Stephen Del Duca.
He just thought it was an unacceptable performance.
He lost his own seat.
He had a sense of shame about it.
Yes, and so he, like Bonnie Crombie, lost his own seat. Bonnie lost a seat in Mississauga. There was, an issue involving Patrick Brown's mother-in-law. However, you're the leader of the party. You do have access to resources from central office. you can move them.
Right. It's not like an excuse to say, "Oh, we couldn't do anything. They ran a good campaign."
Yes.
Yeah. That's just how elections work.
Yeah. and it's kind of as well like the argument of the time spent in the riding. Why did you pick certain ridings? And you can ask that to both Del Duca and to Bonnie Crombie, because they were not either Liberal safe seats.
Yeah.
And then they both spent their time conversing the provinces to try and drum up seats while their own seat was being neglected.
Right.
So
it is really a big thing for you that you just think a leader should be able to win their own seat.
It should be, the leader should be able to have their seat, because like members within the caucus should be able to look around, see the leader there, championing them and pulling them forward. Because what is a leader? The leader is the one ahead pulling things forward. And so...
Right, they're not commanding from behind.
Yeah, no. They're not sitting in an ivory tower sending down people to give instructions.
Right, and technically you can be a premier or a prime minister without having a seat in any legislature.
Yeah.
And Mark Carney did that for a short
and John
bit.
Turner, too.
Yeah. And John Turner. He wasn't the first one. I actually wrote about it in a column. But like it is, there's a benefit to them being there. It provides like a legitimacy through democracy that they didn't just win a primary, they won a general contest. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you think that there were like side effects from like Crombie not being able to win in her own seat to like suffering for Liberal candidates in other areas of Mississauga and Peel too?
Definitely. Because, with her having been the mayor of Mississauga, that was so much of her promise in leadership.
Right.
Unlocking one of Ontario's largest cities.
Like the promise was that she was the mayor, so she was going to win bring other seats in Mississauga with her.
It started off because in leadership she began with her, I'm going to win on the first ballot 60+%. We all know how that went. That went to the final ballot, in which it was not over, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was not over 60% in the end for her, correct?
I don't believe no, on the final ballot in the leadership.
It was like 62 to 48 or something.
No, it was actually tighter. That it was it was 50-something, 40-something on both the points and the votes. So it's like
and
half the party.
That's final ballot too.
Yeah. So it's like by the end, like half the party had essentially said they wanted anyone but Bonnie.
Yeah, and so that pretty much fuels me to go to yes, because you have both the election results that we have had now multiple times, and we're now going to say, let's keep going. What? Yeah. That's not the best thinking.
Well, yeah.
And then we also have the will of the members who, may not necessarily overall support her because of, some of the failures.
Right. It's like the Liberals, I find, tend to be less like ideologically rigid than Conservatives in the NDP, but the trade-off is that's because they want to win. And if you can't win, people tend to get...
Well, it started with Bonnie with the govern from the center right, which was then changed to oopsies. So...
Would you say there was like hostility towards the left wing under her?
I would say that there wasn't like an open dialogue, and I wouldn't necessarily say I'm in that, but there was a bit of a coldness to some people, and it's not really the best way to keep everyone in the fold.
Right. But managing a big tent party takes work, and you can't take people's support for granted.
Yeah.
And I know like in the last week she tried to appeal to NDP voters, but wasn't the problem that she only started trying to do that in the last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as well, she as well, like there was in her leadership campaign issues with some donors, and then there were the fact that her leadership ballot was the result of it, and then there's subsequently...
Yeah, I know she was with Mr. X, who was in the whole Greenbelt scandal, and there was the photo of him and her together as well, which didn't help when you need to be able to attack the Conservatives.
And you have to be able to distance as well, because people have had Doug Ford now running this province for so long, and we need to be a viable alternative.
I remember joking on the radio one time that it seemed like she was running a campaign for people who are conservative but don't like Doug Ford. And I was laughing with the host, John Oakley, because we were both like, well, which conservatives in the province don't like Doug Ford? Like everyone in the 905 is voting for him. Like
Yeah. And like, you know, he'll go to Pride. York,
he'll only go to York Region Pride because it's the one with police. But still, you're right. He's different from Poilievre. It's like you don't worry about gay marriage. You don't worry about abortion with Doug Ford.
But you did in the first term.
You did in the first term.
Yeah, in the first term there was, you know, the student walkout.
Yeah, which I was involved in, so I'm familiar with that. But once the sex ed stuff stopped, he dropped off the social conservative stuff. People got more comfortable with him.
Yeah, and his polling's gone up, and he's been, you know, on the tariff issue, he has been somebody who's gone on Fox News and, you know, really hit Americans sometimes.
And and the Ontario Tories and the federal Liberals have embraced each other a little, which creates some problems provincially.
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily an embrace. Like, I'd say there's an individual like, they're different parties. Like the OLP and the LPC aren't linked. Like,
right. So not anymore.
Yeah. And so, like, technically, you could be free to be, you know, a federal Green and an Ontario PC.
It's really only the NDP that still have them linked.
Yeah, it's in the NDP that have them linked.
Yeah, and, you know, however the thing ends up going with the leadership review.
Yeah, and so either way, I'm going to stay, but it would be nice to, because, you know, Bonnie, she could run in a open contested leadership, and it would then be great.
Oh yeah, it's like
her so-called 60%.
Right.
I would love it.
Yeah, it's
I
like
would be so
that's
happy.
something people don't understand is that she actually would be allowed to run in a new leadership contest.
No. I would be humbled to see the 60%.
Oh yeah, if she won a second time, then the debate would be over.
That would be like Patrick
Ultimately,
Brown.
The criticism has come from like a loss of electoral legitimacy, and that could be silenced with a gain in electoral legitimacy.
Well, you were saying, I remember now, you were saying about the Conservatives and the federal party, and they're getting along. It's not necessarily the whole parties. It's the individual politicians themselves having a relationship, like, and then like their staff,
right,
themselves may not be like, oh no, my boss is talking to this.
It's very much like a network democracy.
Kind of, yeah. And so, like, there was back during COVID when Doug Ford and Christia called each other best friends.
Yeah. And that's part of why I bring it up, because it's been an enduring trend, at least for federal Liberals, before Carney became prime minister. Well, maybe not enduring, but the fact that
that was an essential time, but then there's also
true. But I do know in the 2022 Ontario provincial election, like that did scare people when Chrystia Freeland did that, because in 2022 federal people didn't really come out to help on the provincial election, and that did kind of feel in hindsight like a sign or an omen that the relationship between federal and provincial Liberals is getting colder than it used to be.
Yeah, perhaps colder than it used to be, or maybe people are really busy. You know, it's always a busy time for people in their lives sometimes.
True. A lot of hard work to do in Ottawa, especially in a minority government, especially during the pandemic era. So it's like, I can't fully blame people, but it would be a lie to say there weren't some hard feelings in some places.
Because it's always sometimes when you ask for support for something like 3 years later on a project or something, if you go to Central, it's like, oh, you didn't do this 3 years ago.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like a lot of the campaign infrastructure, like even though membership is separate, there are a lot of people that float in between, and you kind of rely on people like picking yours instead of the other level. Like I know with the leadership contest in the federal Liberal Party, that took away staff from the provincial campaign in February.
Oh, yep, definitely. And so that was an issue, I think, in so many ridings. Like I myself probably focused more federally, or I tried to switch my head back and forth, but failed to do so too much. But
I know I spent both elections just writing and podcasting, so a bit of a different vibe from when I used to work on these things more regularly.
Yeah, you show up, you start. Well, it's all a bunch of acronyms.
Yeah,
and so I'll give you
acronym soup.
Yeah, because you have the P ones for provincial, and then an F for federal.
Yeah, the
somewhere,
FLAs and the PLAs.
and so on, and then
And sometimes they call themselves EDAs instead.
oh yeah, but then
you don't know what party it is because it.
Yeah, but then if you're doing things, your brain starts saying calls it PLA and FLA and anyway. So
yeah, I know in Don Valley West it's still FLA and PLA. I know they tried to make most people switch to EDA, but some were just delightfully stubborn about it, and I support.
How? That's interesting.
They just said no.
They got it done. Yeah.
Well, they just said no. They just kept calling themselves the FLA, and that was that.
Okay, like is it disappointed then? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're all. Yeah. But
Interesting.
yeah. Now I know we're coming up on time here, so I wanted to wrap up and ask if there was anything that you were interested in talking about with the Liberals or bringing up that we haven't had a chance to chat about today.
Yeah. Well, I'd really like to just I'll just finish off with kind of like with all that's gone on in the past bit of like Ontario politics, certainly I think in the minds of most Ontarians, a leadership review in the Ontario Liberal Party is definitely not front and center.
Yep.
So, but I think if we as a party could come up with some exciting options, and we've seen that with a group. There is a group, New Leaf Liberals, so they're putting forward proposals and so on, and events coming up in Kingston as well, and then there'll be one at the AGM. So,
and I believe there's one also in the works for Kitchener-Waterloo.
Oh yeah, I think like for a bit before the AGM.
Cool. And then there's going to be one on September 11th, the night before the AGM begins in Toronto.
And so, like in the end, Bonnie really kind of didn't secure a mass wave that she promised, and a promise made should be a promise kept.
Pretty fair. All right. Ayden Layng, thank you for joining the program. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Jake.
Ayden Layng, everybody. Thank you for listening to this special live in the field edition of It's Getting Pretty Late with Jake Landau. Next week, we will be back in the studio with a normal edition of the program with headline topics and no prizes and all the rigmarole. But I thank you for entertaining this special edition. And if you'd like to hear more live interviews on the podcast feed, please do let me know, and I will try to do my best by you. Thank you, and have a good night. This is the end of the show. Bye.